All right, so today we're tackling something pretty wild. The massive, and I mean massive, engine failure problem that's hitting modern Toyota Tundras. It's a story that puts one of the most reliable brands on the planet against an engineering mystery that's costing owners a fortune.
And just to set the stage, listen to this quote. It's from a guy whose 2024 Tundra, with only 44,000 miles on it, had its engine completely die right before the holidays. And yet somehow he posted this. Wow.
But the thing is, his story is far from a one-off. We're talking about owners of practically brand new trucks from a company that's synonymous with reliability experiencing total engine failure. They're getting stranded, facing huge repair bills. This isn't just a few bad apples. It's really starting to look like an epidemic.
Okay, so let's really get a sense of just how big this problem is. Because honestly, it seems to fly in the face of everything we all thought we knew about Toyota's legendary reputation.
Just look at some of these recent reports. It's hitting trucks across all the new model years, and at crazy low mileage. A 2023 Tundra with spun main bearings at just 24,000 miles. I mean, a spun bearing is a catastrophic failure deep inside the engine. We're seeing engines just seizing up in the middle of road trips. And get this, even a brand new crate engine, the one that's supposed to be the fix, arrived with a cracked camshaft. Unbelievable.
So for the longest time, there was this one theory that everybody, and I mean everybody, was repeating. Owners, people on forums, even the media. The idea was tighter tolerances. The thinking was that the tiny gaps between the moving parts in these new engines were just so small that any little piece of debris could cause the whole thing to lock up. It's a simple explanation, right? It kind of makes sense. But what if it's not just wrong? What if it's the complete opposite of what's actually happening? Because when you look at Toyota's own data, its own engine specs, the story takes a very, very sharp turn. So let's get into the numbers. This is where we start to bust the tolerance myth, because the official data throws a huge curveball into this whole investigation and flips the script completely. Okay, check this out. On the left is the old, legendary 5.7-liter V8, a rock-solid engine. On the right, the new V6 twin-turbo that's having all the problems. Now, the theory was the new engine had tighter clearances. But look at the specs. The new V6 actually has looser clearances in the critical main and rod bearings. The gap is bigger, not smaller. Mind-blowing, right? So why would they do that? Why make the gap bigger? Well, a looser clearance is actually what you want for a high-torque turbo engine. It allows for a thicker, stronger cushion of oil to get in there and protect everything. But, and this is the huge but, that design is 100% dependent on that oil cushion being there, strong and consistent all the time. Well, that just blows the whole tighter tolerance theory right out of the water, which leads us to the real question. If the engine is designed to have a bigger gap for more oil, why on earth are the bearings failing? And that's where a whole new theory comes in, one that shifts the blame from the metal parts to the liquid flowing between them. So with tolerances pretty much ruled out, the evidence now points to two new prime suspects that seem to be working together: the oil pressure and the oil's viscosity. And this is just shocking. One owner hooked up a scanner to his truck, and what he found was jaw-dropping. At idle, once the engine was nice and hot, his oil pressure dropped to just 4 psi. 4! To put that in perspective, most mechanics would start freaking out if they saw anything under 15, maybe 20 psi. 4 is basically zero. It means there's almost no protective pressure pushing oil through the engine. And that brings us to the second suspect, viscosity. It's just a fancy word for how thick the oil is. Think about the difference between water and honey. The honey is way more viscous. That thickness is what creates the protective film, the cushion, that keeps metal from grinding against metal. It's absolutely critical, especially when your oil pressure tanks like that. And this right here, this slide gets to the heart of the whole problem. On one side, you have Toyota specifying a really thin, almost watery 0W-20 oil. Why? Well, probably to help them squeeze out every last bit of fuel economy to meet strict government standards. But on the other side, you have what this high-stress, high-torque turbo engine actually needs: a strong, thick film of oil to protect itself. You've got efficiency fighting durability right inside the engine. So, with this new theory taking shape, that the engine is basically being starved of protection by thin oil and low pressure, is there a potential fix? Is there something owners can do, even if it means, going against the owner's manual? And look, the case for using a thicker oil isn't just some random guess. It is backed by what the rest of the industry is doing. Ford made this exact change for its very similar EcoBoost V6 years ago. High-performance European brands like BMW and Mercedes, they've been using thicker oils in their turbo engines for ages. And the brand new Ram, with its own powerful twin-turbo, it specs a much thicker 0W-40 right from the factory. The writing is kinda on the wall.
This quote really just nails it. It feels like this is another one of those cases where the relentless push for higher miles per gallon has forced an engineering compromise that might be sacrificing the long-term health of the engine.
So, the theory is compelling. By switching to a thicker oil, like a 0W-40, you could create that tough, durable film the bearings are screaming for, especially during those scary, low oil pressure moments at idle. Now, to be super clear, this is not an official fix from Toyota. Doing this could have serious implications for your warranty, but the engineering logic behind it, it's pretty solid. And that's where this leaves Tundra owners, stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do you follow the manufacturer's specs, designed for peak fuel economy and to keep your warranty safe? Or do you take a cue from other automakers and potentially protect your huge investment for the long haul? It is a really tough question, with no easy answer.